do believe we're live, so I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you for joining me again. I am a little bit tired. I only slept like a few hours. We ended up dancing till late at night. Drove back home, had cool conversations on the way here, and I'm happy to be with you, friends. Today's stream topic that has been kind of like ruminating in my head is something we've talked about so many times before, and it's the stories we tell ourselves. I'm sorry about the wind noise. So sorry. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. But the story of love in that context is that this weekend we did actually get to go to a Samsung service center, and they confirmed that my port is broken. I paid the $100 they wanted for me to order the new part. So now I just have to wait for my phone call and then take my phone in. So maybe only a few more, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then we'll have good audio again. Right? That's a story of love, right? I feel that way. So again, today's stream topic is going to be about the stories we tell ourselves. This weekend was very enlightening to me in the context of watching the stories people tell themselves and then how they behave. And then how they behave in context in relation to others because of the stories they tell themselves, and what the experience is that they get to have as a result of that story. And it was this experience of clarity, right? It was so clear to me what was happening. Like it was unmistakable that those that believed that they were limited, those that believed that they were sinful, those that believed they were evil, those that believed that they were less than, those that believed they were unvalidated, they got what they believed. They got exactly what they believed, right? How's that, JV? I hope it's better. Like, it looks so cute, actually. My scarf looks like a little person every single time I do this. So, yeah, right? You get what you believe. What you believe about yourself is what you believe about yourself. What you believe about reality is what you believe about reality. I think of it from the perspective of almost like simplicity. Like, if you can choose to believe anything about life, about the people you spend time with, about the experience you're going to be allowed to have, why? Why, out of the infinite potential experiences you could tell yourself about, do you choose to pick the ones that are the worst? Right? And then after picking the worst option out of all of them, we continue perpetuating that trip, telling ourselves these stories of our own limitation. Like one of these stories, for example, maybe I'll tell a few of them even. I don't know. They all come from a piece of love, right? Because I was paying enough attention to actually be present, to remember the conversations, right? Just as like a preface. But one of the conversations I had was with my cousin, who is in his 30s now. And like this dude is one of my favorite cousins. I love him so much. And you friends know I like dancing. And this was like a glam fest kind of themed party. And usually our family listens to Afrikaans music. And that's not exactly music you can solo dance to. It's not exactly the vibe for it. And usually it's just Afrikaans music over and over and over again. Like the old people, we call it the old people music because only the old people enjoy listening to it. And because it was like glam fest kind of vibes, we were playing my music, and I was losing my mind, metaphorically speaking, of course, right? I was just dancing my absolute heart out for hours. My legs, my lower back, my feet are so sore, but my heart is happy, and my shoulders feel light, like I shaked off a bunch of stuff. And then me and Willy, that cousin I showed you, friends, the crazy one, we were dancing, and I gave him one of my scarves, and I was dancing with one of my scarves, and we were just like only me and him at one point, like late into the night. We're still actually dancing, and we were going through like this dance battle with the scarves. We were swinging them around, and the shenanigans that you friends know. And afterwards, we went back to kind of like the family, circle, to say it in so many words. And then the family started talking about this scene that they were watching, and they were commenting on how beautiful it was as a expression to see us two, because both of us are the eldest of the eldest sons on my dad's side, right? So my dad has an older brother, and Vili is his son, and then I'm of course the oldest son of my dad's. So it was like that dynamic, and then me and him dancing, right? Instead of fighting, instead of hating one another, instead of telling a story of, oh, I'm better than you, or oh, I got more money, or I got more things, or I got more, prospects. Nah, 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 nah. It was just two dudes stomping to beats, swinging scarves around, right? That was like it. That was the whole expression, and it was beautiful. It was so freeing. It was so true, right? Love. It was just love. And then we finish this whole dance shenanigans, and we go to the circle, and my cousin's like, I could never, he says. And I'm like, no, stop saying that. Of course you can, right? Like, I haven't been dancing my whole life. I only learned I could dance recently, very recently, in fact. And I would like to teach people how to even. Dancing isn't something only reserved for a certain set of people. Dancing is for all of us, kind of vibe, right? And that was one of the stories where I could see, I could see the fascination, the what's the exact word that I'm looking for? Admiration. That's the right word, right? I could see the admiration my cousin had for us dancing, and yet the story of I could never, right? And I was like, no, stop doing that. But because he believes he could never, he never will, right? Until he chooses to believe something else. And I was like, oh goodness, I guess that's true. It happened in another way as well. I won't say any names, but another friend, like officially told me that she's done with this space, right? Because she's not validated enough. And the only thing I ever gave is love, right? At least I'd like to hope to believe that. And that wasn't enough. Because in her mind, that's the story. It's being said. Yeah, this is not enough. Yeah, this is still not enough. This is not enough. I'm not validated just yet. And now I'm telling myself a story of worrying of whether or not I'm not enough, right? Realizing that I'm telling this story, then having to try and stop myself. Then, in stopping myself, I feel like I'm telling myself a story of my own insensitivity, my own anger, my own willingness to kind of just write things off, right? To say I don't care, because that's easier than how much we actually care. Another, story of love versus fear, if you will. I had a bunch of conversations last night about BCIs, brain computer interfaces, had a bunch of conversations about AI, about God, about Christianity. Again, everybody there was Christians. I was like, again, like, it was kind of odd because we were, there was like this one group of, people that were actually smoking weed. And of course, they approached me. They were like, "You look like you also smoke weed. You want to smoke weed with us?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do want to smoke weed with you. In fact, like that is something I want to do." Kitty is kind of like assaulting my space right now. I don't know if I can move my camera without undoing my whole setup, so I won't show you, Jovi. But she's like all up in my business right now, And like there was dancing. It was like a fun time, a good experience, kind of just getting along. And then we were talking about daddy issues, right? and again, these stories we tell ourselves. And I shared my story about the experiences I've had with my dad and my dad's belief systems, and how those belief systems, at least in my perspective, with the story I'm telling myself, seems to be indicative of separation, right? Because that is kind of like the crux of the whole religion in my mind. Like, you're supposed to be separate, and that's why you need to be saved, or whatever. And how that causes a divide between me and my dad. And then it obviously, launched us into a 1 hour conversation about religion and belief systems and perspective. And the story that I kept seeing come up over and over and over again is this one of believing that we are evil, right? Believing that we are less, believing that we are small, believing that we are dirty. That's the word you use. Fail. Fail. Dirty. Like, you are dirty, right? And you need to be washed clean. But Kitty, please stop touching me. Like, she's really trying to get my attention. I see you. I know about you. I do. I'm just busy right now. You have like all of this farm. I think you can see like pieces of her. Yeah, you can. I can't see any of the stuff on the screen anymore. And again, the story of I'm telling myself this story. Like, I love the kitty, but I am scared of getting into a sneezing fit, having my eyes swell up, and having my throat itch. Right. So now I'm tripping out. Now she's looking at the little dangly bits. If you suddenly see the camera, she's thinking about it. Maybe I'll blow a little bit at her. That seems to work. So, fear, love. Conversation about being dirty, being, unclean, needing to be washed. And then again, right, watching the rest of the narratives. Watching what other things they believe alongside this story they're telling themselves. And when it became clear to me that I don't agree with them at all, there was like this echoing of a point that I made at the start of the conversation, where I said something in the lines of the future is feminine, right? That I believe that the future we're heading into isn't going to be the same as it used to be from this perspective of dominator culture, but instead from this perspective of nurture culture, right? Like the feminine does. Not meaning that women will have to rule the earth, which I don't actually, stand against. I kind of would like for the woman to rule the earth a little bit. And then, after having this whole conversation, seeing the story they tell themselves about their own evil nature, about their own unwashedness, and then at the same time echoing this perspective of patriarchy, going as far as to straight up say the words, the patriarchy is supposed to be the way it is. And I was like, you like being dominated? You like this? Right? Do you like this? Do you actually like this state of existence we're in right now? Where we literally have to get dominated financially, right? With our taxes, our expectations about what we're supposed to do. Like, so many layers of domination. Like, I'm tripping out just kind of like watching it unfold in front of my eyes. And feeling like this deep understanding of I could never tell myself a story like that, right? Why would I? What would the story give in telling myself a story like that? And then asking that question of them, it was met with this pride, right? Like, a part of the story they tell themselves, they also give themselves a chip on their shoulder of like, yeah, they're not so selfish or so needy, or something in that context, to want it to do something for them. And I was like, okay, so you'll believe in something for the sake of believing it, because believing it is more important than what believing it does for you and for society, for humanity. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. And so that sounds like a story that is not necessarily beneficial to tell yourself. And kind of like transitioned away from the conversation, talked about music. They played me some of the music that they make. That was a fun time. Then the last really deep conversation I had was with my 15-year-old cousin. And he is a child of divorce. Is that the way to say it? His parents separated when he was like 7 years old. And I every single time me and him meet up, I like having deep conversations with him because I feel it's important. I feel like he's very intelligent, and because he's young, people don't treat him as an intelligent being, right? And I feel that's been the case for me most of my life as well. So I feel a deep responsibility to tell a story of love instead of separation fear, right? To him by just listening, by kind of being present with him. And he tells me the story about how he feels a deep sense of anger, regret, longing, resentment that his parents are separated. From this perspective, that he won't get to have my perspective when it comes to the family dynamic. I won't get to have, he says to me, a vacation with my whole family and my mom and my dad who have been married for 20 years, right? Like, and he says this from this perspective of he's at such a loss for not having this experience. And then I counter, as I like to do with you friends as well, his infinity with the other side of it, talking about how he might be in a position, he might be getting skilled enough, equipped with the right knowledge to be able to help someone in the future. That in 10 years, 20 years from now, he might have a conversation with someone who is in the same circumstance as he is right now and might have the same feelings that he has at that point of his life. And if he didn't have those feelings, if he didn't have that story, that perspective, he wouldn't be able to help that person in the future. And trying to see that as the loving perspective, the loving story, instead of a one of fear, one of separation, I felt was very beneficial. Then he asked me to move away. He wanted to have an even more private conversation with me. He told me some hectic things, things that you're not actually supposed to be telling your cousins, right? And my sharing in that perspective was very much of reminding him of mistakes, right? Very much again in synchronicity with today's stream topic, that when we make mistakes and when we make mistakes consecutively, we can build a negative relationship with ourselves or a negative reputation of ourselves where we start believing that we are, oh, there's a ladybug. It's not the most bright one, but look at the ladybug, little spirit animal. Thank you, friend. Sending you good vibes. That if we keep making mistakes, we start building this narrative, this story of I am someone who makes mistakes, right? And then it becomes easier and easier to make more mistakes because now it's no longer something, now it's no longer a mistake as much as it's you acting the way you're supposed to, or the way you think you're supposed to, at least. And I was like, as I was sharing this perspective with him, like that's a good point to make. And how the story he shared with me still is steeped in change, right? If you just take that perspective, because the perspective he was holding on to is separation for what had happened in the past. And then I was keep trying to echo to him back that even though it might have felt that way, even though it might have felt like a sense of betrayal, he now is equipped in a way that I never would be able to. He now has perspective. He now has story that I can't even tell myself, right? He has a possibility to tell himself a story of love, to grow from that place of love in a way that I can't ever, not even imagine. And like I just see, right, like these little bells going off in his head. him understanding the point I'm trying to make to him. The point I'm trying to make right now is that how we feel about things. I'm sorry, kitty. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Just a little bit of wind at least. How we feel about ourselves is how we feel about ourselves. Right? Like it really is that simple. It's almost stupid. So simple it is. It's like nobody can feel about yourself for yourself. Right? Only you can do that. And we feel so shit about ourselves so much of the time. Right? Why? What is the what again? Coming back to that benefit question, what is the benefit in telling ourselves a story like that? Is it serving us to self better? Is it serving us to have perspective, to stay humble? Is it serving us to understand other people, to get along with people, to be willing, to be okay with, to understand the possibility of making mistakes? It really is a hard fractal for me to understand, and it's harder even to get people to understand what I'm saying, even though it's so simple, right? Because even though it's very simple to understand the words I'm saying, that how you feel about yourself is how you are gonna feel about yourself. It doesn't make it any easier to feel good about ourselves when there are things that we would want to change, right? Be it financially, be it weight, be it how strong we are, be it our relationships, be it add your thing here, right? What story are you telling yourself about it? And is telling that story, right? Thinking of it from this perspective of you being the creator of your own narrative, is telling that story going to lead you towards better outcomes, right? Or worse outcomes? Are you starting your story like it's a horror movie or like it's a fairy tale when you tell it, right? Because we know that if the movie starts horror story vibes, there's this ominous nature. Like we know some bad shit is about to go down. And in the same way, if it's like kind of like frolicky, frolicky, we're like, yeah, this is going to be a nice time. This might be a little bit uplifting. And then noticing that with our own story, like a movie playing in our head and being willing to change the channel. Be like, yeah, sure, this person hurt me, but also now I have more perspective to be able to not hurt others, right? Yeah, this person treated me like shit, made me feel like I'm less than, made me feel murderous. I can never treat another person like that because I know what it feels like. Instead of, this person, how dare they do this? Right? Okay. I'm done ranting. That was a long one. Goodness. Thank you, friends, for being here with it. SRS, back again. Joy Vive and Christina. Loazana, Joy Vive and Shan. Sending all of your love. Grace Hand is here too. Corey, even sending you love. I like to believe I came here for unbiased love. I would like to believe that as well. I'm here to give unbiased love because I can't know you, right? Not fully. Like I can't even know myself. I am not even the same person I was at the start of the stream, right? And I would like to believe I knew the version of me who started the stream, but now I've changed. So now I have to get to know myself all over again. And it is that times, it's infinity times every single one of you, right? One times infinity is still infinity, right? So I could never love you as much as I would like to, but I will show up for you. That's my story, right? I'll keep showing up for you, and that support to some will be enough. Some will tell a story of this is something that can be good, and some will be like this isn't enough because he's just you know supporting from the sidelines, not actually playing an active role. Yeah, the stories we tell ourselves. I'm trying to get better at it as well. I don't know that it's easy. I don't know how long it takes, but we are working on it. How's your thorn? Very much still embedded in my foot, Troy V. Thank you for asking. Uh, I'm hoping it'll get better. I did take Logosano's advice with the baking powder with some water. I added some aloe vera to it as well. Unfortunately, it didn't really bring the thorn any closer to my foot. So I think we're officially surrendering our control to it, becoming infected or something and then just, working its own way out, which is a nightmare to me, but something I'm accepting right now. It's too deep to be able to fetch it. My family even was making fun of me about it. And I was like really being dramatic about how painful it was. Kitty missed you and is happy you're home. I'm happy to see her as well, Joyviv. I really am. And I've already given her multiple pets. I've filled her bowls to the brim. I've given her some milk. She's still chilling here with me. But she knows that she can, get attention from my hands. And my feet are very much entangled underneath my body right now. So even though I would like to give her lovin's, her tail against my arm and against my leg, and she pushes her body against me, it's just a little bit distracting. All right. Still love. Still love. I'm not scared of her. At least I would like to believe I'm not. Right. But I guess that's a beautiful example of the point I'm trying to make with today's stream topic. Always a pleasure to be here with you wonderful beings. Yeah, you too. So much love. Feeling of not being good enough comes from a lack of acknowledgement or acceptance from others in one regard or another. Parents, for example. It very much starts there, right? And I feel like the story I'm trying to share with you is that being good enough cannot be given to you, right? At least at first, as children, we might be very capable of telling ourselves a story of fear when it comes to our parents' absence in our lives, right? Not being accepted or acknowledged enough by our parents. But at some point, you have to realize that's the past, right? You have to. Because it's you telling yourself the story. And like this again, right? I wish I didn't even know this word, victim blaming. I'm not trying to victim blame. I'm not trying to say it's your fault for feeling bad about your parents not loving you enough. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it is your responsibility to love yourself enough. Period. Right? That's what we're trying to get at. It is your responsibility to notice the story you're telling yourself. Ask yourself, is it a story of love or is it a story of fear? Am I perpetuating a fight, worry about something bad going to happen, stress about some sort of event that happened in my life, a conversation that I had that didn't sit well with me, and then, or am I just grateful to be here right now? Grateful to know how to conversate at all. It really is a problem. It breaks my brain sometimes. He missed you, the feeling. Very odd. I thought of relationship with my dad and talking about being enough earlier, of course. Meltmore, where great conversations happen. Wow, wow. Thank you, friend. Thank you. You're a part of this conversation. You know what I'm saying, right? Like you're actively telling yourself a story in your head right now. And I hope, that's the thing I hope. I hope the story that I help you tell is one of love, right? That's what I believe my job is, in so many ways. And I don't always succeed. That's the thing that bothers me. Like I can tell the exact same story, and to one person it can create a loving story, and to the other person it can create a story of separation, right? Like, oh no, I'm not that. No, I couldn't. No, I would never. Right? Separation, and it's a lot. It really is a lot. You dating? No, I'm not dating. SRS too early for thirst. Yeah, SRS, I really appreciate your love, friend, but I'm gonna have to ask you to be chillaxed, right? Think of me as a sexless being, okay? Just imagine I'm like super smooth down there, nothing. I mean, even if you could have sex with me, you wouldn't be able to. Okay, right? Is that turning you off? I don't know how to. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm not scared. I understand the love behind the story. What story am I telling myself about this? Let's sit with it even. Yeah, okay. This is not the space for it. There we go. That's the story. Not scared, but I love you friends so much, and I love this space and the sanctity we create, and that's not the energy, right? Ooh, I want to sex this guy. Ooh, I want to sex him. Ooh, I want to sex him so bad. No, please. No, thank you. Like that is also the best way to not get me to be attracted to you, unfortunately as well, right? Then that's the other trip. So you're double separating yourself. Goodness, my brain's getting melted. I haven't slept. I'm 16,000 some days old. Is your birthday or something, Maula? I also haven't slept a lot, dude. Sending you vibes. I hope you get some rest. Javid reminds me our collective reaction to Meltman yesterday. It's still the best answer. Thank you. Thank you, Javid. So much love. Like there was a lot of dancing happening. I wish I could have shared more of the like dance offs later in the night with you friends, but a lot of the people I could feel were uncomfortable with being on camera. I don't know why, because those same people were also taking copious amounts of photos, but people are scared of something that's live, right? Oh, what if I get completely undressed and run around like a naked insane person? You know, like how about you don't do that? How about you don't do that, and then we'll be okay? How about that? You don't have to be scared of doing something stupid if you're not gonna do something stupid, right? Stop telling yourself a story. Stop, please. I feel you, friends, bigly. I'm gonna run for a bit. See ya soon. Sending you love, dear friend. It's always so wild how these conversations come up just in the right time. Vulnerability is hitting me so hard right now too. Christina, thank you for being here for this conversation, friend. That's the thing I honor you for. Right? Again, story of fear or love. To the friends that are still struggling with a story of fear, for example, this conversation might not be something that they want to hear, right? And instead of seeing it as a synchronicity, as a serendipity, it might be seen as an attack. And again, only you can decide. Only you can decide how you take something. Very much on the stoic side of wisdom, right? You friends know. I had a birthday the other day. Again, happy birthday to you. He is. It was fun to see dancing and not even on a Wednesday. I love party streams. Hopefully, we'll have more as we continue. We've spent so much time tearing each other down, separating each other from oneness, that when enough of us realize and act appropriately, we'll start moving forward at a faster rate. All things eventually go exponential, right? And at first, it's like nothing. And then the nothing becomes twice as nothing. And then the twice as nothing become four times as nothing. And then before you know it, the nothing is everything. And we're getting there, slowly but surely. Kari, the space feels like the exact opposite of that feeling, is why I am here. The moving away from one another, right? I agree. Stories are for the deception and imperfection. Yeah, I agree. But they can be beautiful nonetheless, right? And I think that's the thing that I'm trying to ease into. Happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you for that, Shan. I hope your birthday was well as well. Do tell us. I turned 44 the other day. Really, Malo? Hoopy? I thought you were like in your 30s, dude. Like early 30s. 44? That's actually tripping my brain out right now. Palindrome. Yeah, life has wings. It's true. If we don't see you, SRS. I hope you have a beautiful birthday. Thank you for that, Shan. So much love. I will be 23 March 15th. Yeah, that's definitely a person. That is a person, SRS. That is definitely a person. Uh, You're so young, SRS. Hope you have a nice birthday. Thank you for that. What country are you in? Do let us know. Maybe she will. I don't know if she's reading. Being a child of divorce is a certain kind of trauma that leaves a child feeling unwanted, which leads to relationship problems as an adult. I agree. I'm not saying that that's not the case, Corey, and I'm not trying to take away from yours, any of our friends', or my cousin's, personal experience. I'm just going to, as I always do, encourage positive narratives, right? Yes, I'm a child of divorce, but this is allowing me perspective that I couldn't have had if I wasn't. Yes, this is painful right now. Also, I'll be able to help other kids going through the same struggles, right? Watching your own self limiting beliefs and then giving yourself the opposite narrative just to see, right? See how it feels. And at least for me, more often than not, giving myself the positive spin on my own negative narratives is so clearly better that it's almost laughable that I'm telling myself the negative story. We're here from all over the world. This is true. Georgia? Georgia. Georgia? Is Georgia a country or a state? My sense are what you give me the possibility of forming a perspective, not what you would know. Exactly. How's the weather in Arizona, Christina? You got an atmospheric river happening here. We've got an atmospheric river happening here in North Cal. I don't know what that means. Atmospheric river? Unless and when I choose to express rather than listen, I feel you, brother bear. I may be gone by the time he gets to this comment. Have a beautiful day. Love you, Natalie. Sending you love, dear friend. We'll see you soon. Did you use baking powder or baking soda? Baking soda. I think baking soda. Is there a difference? Hey Google. Hey Google. What is the difference between baking powder and baking soda? While both products appear similar, they're certainly not the same. Baking soda is a solution of bicarbonate, which requires an acid and a liquid to become activated to help baked goods rise. Conversely, baking powder includes sodium bicarbonate as well as an acid. It also needs a liquid to become its active form. Ah, so the one has an acid in it, the other doesn't. I think I use baking soda, not baking powder in that case. I don't know if we have baking powder. I just think we have baking soda, we have cream of tartar, we have salt, and I think that's it, right, for white powders that we use for baking. No need baking soda, not powder. You need baking soda, not powder. Okay, they're two separate things. If you tried with powder, try again with the soda. I definitely tried with the soda. Thank you, friends, for letting me know. Mm, I get deep splinters from my old hardwood, and sometimes I have to lift the splinter back through the layers of callus with the pointy thing underneath it before it gets ready to come out. Yeah, yeah, I've already done that, unfortunately. Right, like there's an actual hole in my foot right now. So like there's this pretty thick layer of foot skin, right? And it's clear that like you can see the divot where the foot skin usually is, and then there's this hole, and you can see the flesh underneath. I'm sorry, TMI, I know, but we're talking about it right now. And then skin again, and like that soft flesh on the inside, the thorn is deep buried inside of it, where you can't even separate it from each other to be able to see the little black bit of the thorn, pointing its little head out. Like it's, yeah. I'm patient. I'm patient. I'll take it. It this too shall pass. Right? That's what I keep reminding myself of. Okay, I have to go now. My youngest is demanding a dance party, so I'm going to open the Meltmore playlist on SoundCloud and let her go wild. So much love to you and the little one. Thank you, Natalie, for giving me that fractal. Freedom is something you do, you think? Yes, I think so. It's a beautiful point you're asking about. We talked about this 2 days ago, and then the day before that we talked about freedom, and then the day after that we talked about control. And the talking about freedom kind of took us into a bunch of different conversations, with our animals that we eat right now, with our pets, with the coming robots, and how we're going to think about rights when it comes to robots as well, freedoms when it comes to our robots, our robotics. And then the day after that, I talked about control and very much how you can be as free as you want to be. If you aren't in control, you don't feel free, right? Like you, for instance, could have access to a portal where you could get an infinite amount of food of any kind whenever you wanted to, right? A freedom to get anything you ever wanted to when you wanted to. But if you had no control, you were just ceaselessly eating, yourself into extreme obesity, and you're uncomfortable with your body, you're having a hard time moving, and you can't stop yourself from reaching into this portal and just keeping on eating. You're not free, right? You're trapped again, just in a different way. And it's the same thing with this earth. Like we are free to go anywhere, right? Like I can start walking in a direction and I'll never get to stop walking in that direction. But I have to be the one in control of wanting to do that. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel free as well. If I was forced to walk infinitely on the earth, right, roaming, even though that would be a very freeing experience, I wouldn't feel free for a second of it because I'm not the one in control, right? So I do think freedom is something you do. Like it's attached to discipline. Discipline is freedom, in a way for me. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, girl, that description makes me want to get the fainting couch, Sam. What? Oh, yeah, the deep splinter. Yeah, that's a little bit much. Dope, Natalie. I feel it though. I want one of those so bad. A fainting couch? I don't know what a fainting couch is. Hey, Google, can you show me a photo of a fainting couch? Ah, it's like the couch they have in movies when like a psychologist is talking to a person and the other person is laying on like that swoopy couch. Okay, yeah, sounds pretty, looks pretty cool. Calamitous Cheese is here too, sending you love, dude. Joe Schmo as well, love to you, friends. Nice having you here. I want one of those so bad. I can see you queening it up, Sam, right? I'm shopping for laurel wreath crowns and large fan base leaves as we speak. I hear this. I had to tell myself at a time that I can't change my past. I can only try to comfort others in their own similar experiences. Exactly, Christina. And I apologized deeply. I was on my knees. Actually, I went on my knees. My brother was sitting, so it might not have been as dramatic as him standing and me going in front of my knees. But I went on my knees and I apologized to him again. And I have multiple times, but I feel like it really landed yesterday. The story we tell ourselves, right? And I told him, I'm sorry that I wasn't always the best brother that I could have been. I'm sorry that I hurt you when we were kids. I love you, my brother. Do you see that? Right? Do you realize that I have tried to change? That I'm not that person anymore? And he was like, yes. And then I asked him finally, what can I do to make it better? And he says, nothing. And it wasn't like there's nothing you can do to make it better from a perspective of nothing you will do will make it better. It was a nothing from a perspective of deep realization that I can't do something to change the past, right? And that is the way it is. And as he says that, I'm like, and you understand that, right? And he's like, yes. And I got back up. There's nothing we can do to change the past, but we can work on building a future. And that really is the only thing we have power over, right? Remember your power, even. Remember. Baby steps, please do. Here it is. Times top other Sam. I'm having a hard time reading. I think I chose a bad spot for the light. It's kind of like I have to like line myself up. It's only a little bit of a joke, Maulao. Love is true. Thank you for joking with us, Sam. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I had a great time playing Dungeons and Dragons with the whole gang last night. I'm a fourth level drow elk monk with a British accent. Are you doing the accent? I have to know. Please do tell me. I love you guys. We love you, Joshmo again. I feel like I'm missing a bit. Change the past experiences. The only one to make volcanoes with is the one you use for your thorn. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Now I know. Like we don't have baking powder in South Africa. I think we only do baking soda. Those are visvangertjies. I think so, at least. They're these beautiful blue birds. I don't know if their calls are that beautiful though. Still interesting. Georgia is a country in Eastern Europe. It's also a state in the southern United States. Yeah, thank you, Joy Vive. I appreciate you letting me know. Pippi's getting some attention, poor baby. She's doing so fine. Like she's. I hope that it doesn't mess things up. Okay, looks fine. Can you see her? Look at her. Look at her chilling. Right, that kitty is so fine. Just looking over the land in her fallen tree. And she gets attention. Yeah, more than enough. More than some people, even. Mala on the D&D, yeah, get them, dude. Be that. Like I mean, Dungeons and Dragons is a creative game. Like you get to be your own character, your own voice actor, your own story writer, your own decision maker. It's a sense of freedom because you are in control, right? Right, Mala? And you're like your own Dungeons and Dragons character in this life as well. The good stuff, no you, Joe. You're the good stuff, dude. Vinegar activates baking soda, hydrogen peroxide, gets a reaction too. But I wouldn't cook with it, lol. Nice. Did so much. Joe just started playing D&D with Aiden, Wyzik, and a few others like 3 weeks ago. And I love it. There we go. Yeah. Like if you want to play with them, you might be able to. I don't know if people can join in the middle of a campaign, but might be an option. I never played online because I don't type fast enough, but it sounds fun. You have to type everything? You don't play voice? Like with voices, I guess. Atmospheric river is a plume of moisture that helps carry saturated air from the tropics to higher latitudes, delivering unrelenting rain or snow. I like how Joy Viva is offering us like an extension of my brain right now. I feel so smart. Yeah, of course. Atmospheric rivers bringing copious amounts of water, either in the form of water or ice. You know, I'm guessing you probably don't want the ice, especially in California. Ooh. SRS, dear friend, please, please. I'm going to have to melt you if you continue. And that's literally the last thing that I want to do in this world, right? We love and respect you. Please do love and respect us as well. We can have conversations, right? Like we can have whole ass conversations. You can tell me about your life. You tell me about what you're struggling with. You can tell me about, what you would like to grow, what you're doing right now, what you've been, working on from the perspective of melting old patterns. But every single time I see hearts, I'm just skipping over them, friend. Happy birthday again, in like 3 days. We love you. Like, and I like you're not feeling like a person to me, right? When you're expressing in this way, like heart, crying, shit, crying, heart, crying, heart. People don't do that, right? That's not how people speak. So I beggeth of you, please embrace your power. Be yourself. Be a person. Don't be thirsty. All right. I am not a glass of water you'll get to drink. Talking about get myself a glass of water to drink. Yeah. Love you again. And then even more. Maybe I'd have more patience, SRS, but I'm really tired today. Like really, really tired. Like I usually don't sleep as little as I have slept this weekend. Hmm. Energy. Ah, there we go. A sorry? It's an actual person? There we go. Thank you. Thank you. You don't have to be sorry, right? You just have to be chill. You have to breathe. You have to see, right, your world around you as well. And then you have to notice that we are the same thing, right? I might be seeing something else. I might have a different story that I'm telling myself. But the version of us that is aware, the version of us that peers into reality right now, is the same between you and me. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad, right? We're not telling ourselves stories of fear or separation. We're telling each other stories of love, right? I feel the love you have for me. I do. I really do. But I also don't want to be thinking about my body or sex or being sexualized or being seen as someone who wants to be sexed. That's just not how I see myself most days, right? I kind of consider myself prude. I guess that's the word. Hey Google, define prude. Prude, a person who is or claims to be easily shocked by matters relating to sex or nudity. Yes, right? Like I've gone as far as to completely cut all sexuality out of my life. And it is something I take pride in, right? Like, and it's not from a depraving myself of things. It's just only doing things that I believe benefit the story of love instead of separation, right? Like, I can't sexualize another person without considering themselves very separate from me, like purely sexualizing them, right? I feel like true love, or at least true polarity, comes from depth in relationship, right? It's easy to look at a person and be like, yeah, I want to bang that person. That's simple enough, but do you want to merge with a person, right? Do you want to become one with them? That takes a little bit more consideration, like a lot more. And it feels very one-sided in this way, right? Maybe I'd have a different response if we were in person and you were, communicating your interest, right? Then we can have a conversation. We could share the depth. We can share the intention. Why are we showing up in the way we are right now? And then from that point of view, we can keep growing. There we go. You just shared I got sexually abused before. I'm so sorry to hear that, right? Being sexually abused is not something that I believe I have personal experience with. Crazy thing about stuff like that is that we choose to forget, right? Like some people can be traumatized and completely lose that piece of information within themselves. The story is too painful to keep telling, so we tell ourselves something else. And I feel like that's what we would like to share with you as well, right? That even though these things have happened in the past, what story are you telling yourself, and is telling yourself that story continually going to lead to the outcome that you desire? Unfortunately, for instance, with me, sharing sexuality isn't going to get you an outcome that you desire, right? And this is not me trying to dash your hopes. It's just me being realistic, right? Like, I love you, knowing that you're the same version of consciousness that I am, presence, right? That you are technically the love that I am. But I can't give you anything more than that love, at least not right now, right? And that is something that we have to be aware of, something that we have to kind of pay attention to, something that we have to realize is, again, our own responsibility to tell ourselves a story of love, right? We can either believe ourselves to be separate, fearful, angry, unwanted, right, because of an expression, or we can realize that love wouldn't be true if that expression was allowed, right? At least that's the way I think of it. Nancy, here too, sending you love, dear friend. Sounds like the burst first fur monkeys. Geese are better than guard dogs, and they will throw any trespasser for a loop when they realize they're being chased by an angry goose. It's hilarious. Any love. I hate the stomach bug. Me too. Me too. It's really bad. Everyone's getting over a stomach bug, Joe. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Corey. It's been a rough week for me, for fruit and cup. But got his as well. I hope you're staying hydrated. I'm sure you are. Sending you strength during this process with the bear. I hope. I know it's hard, especially to tell ourselves a story of love when we're going through the actual shit, you know. But I don't believe we have to fear it. I don't think so, at least. Good morning to you again, Nancy. I don't know if you're here. I'm sending you love. When the place was electrically singing all the songs, I got your video too, of course. Sending so much love. SRS, like I tell my daughter, you don't have to feel bad. You just have to change. Feel good for self awareness. Exactly. Like, I wanted to say that as well, Doc Dad, right? Like, don't say sorry, be better. But then I was like, oh, is that mean? Is that mean to say? Right? Because, like, and like, do tell me if I'm wrong in feeling this way, right? Like, I hope that I'm not telling myself a story of fear because I'm scared of being desired, right? Like, that's not my problem. My problem is that being the only thing you desire, right? Like, I want you to desire, in so many words, yourself. I want you to desire the depth of relationship that there is to be had when you embrace love as the self, right? When you see awareness as love and the thing you are aware of as that which should be loved, then you realize, even looking at yourself in the mirror, that is as much the expression of sexuality, of polarity, as anything could ever be, right? And I feel that is my message in so many ways. That you are the one that is desirable, right? Just by being. Remember, remember your power. I got to abused, Doc Dad, that's awesome. Sending you video. Thank you, Shan. Right? It was really cool. Doc Dad, the whistle video was awesome. I totally do stuff like that. Perfect harmonics, inspire, noise. That's just not in my brain, just reading it. I do bird calls. Can you make awesome whistle sounds too, Joe? Bippy is losing her mind. Like, what's doing that? Maybe I can do weirdest whistle I can do is this one. It's really weird. You're basically creating like a little pocket of air between your lips. There we go. The weirdest whistle I can do. Suddenly transition into whistling. Joe, thanks, man. I wished for my guitar or uke so hard. It was sound quality. I sure don't get in my home. It was sound quality. I sure don't get in my home. I thought of so many ways to play off the echo. I don't exactly know what you're talking about, but it's interesting that you also have fractals of music going on. I'll send you a badass link to a video of a guy playing a saxophone in a drainage pipe. Gives me chill. I've seen that one where it's almost like the drainage pipe is playing with him. It really was a vibe. The echo effect is incredible. It really is. Mel can make bird calls. I can make those few that I just did. But not, I'm gonna be like, yeah, this is the blue jay mating call that only gives between January and March to and during the specific hour of the day. I can make sounds that sound like birds, but that's about as much as it goes. Thank you, JV, for celebrating me, telling a story of love. I'm going to finish today's stream. We have a sangha still today in like 30 minutes, so I'll pull a card and then we're gonna set up for the next one. Thank you, friends. Today's stream topic, of course, allowed us to have experiences that we might not have known we needed to. SRS helped me explore some depth within myself. Again, the story I'm telling myself, the loving story I'm telling myself of this space is one of the upliftment of one another, of all of us, right? As the same self towards higher self, towards enlightenment, towards growth, towards showing up, towards light, etc., 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 right? And being sexualized as an individual, I feel doesn't necessarily take away from that light, but causes a spotlight effect that might cause so much contrast that information is lost, right? Am I telling myself a story right now? Maybe. 1111 rainbow card. Let's see. Purple and orange is Corey's, I believe. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, hey, this one. Oh, I pulled two. Guess we'll read both of them. Both of them are upside down. Connor. I've been missing you. Sending you good vibes. Grace Hand also here saying I love y'all so much. May all of you continue to grow and flourish in your talent and gifts as you, Grace Hand. Please do. Thank you for encouraging that love in us as well. Love is truth. Truth is life. Yes. Yes. I never realized how many birds I can identify and mimic until last year. My uncle called me a birder. Oh, he thinks he was right. Unconscious absorption of a language that I can reference. It's cool. I was talking recently about my inability to know the difference in bird calls. So hearing that you get to, it sounds kind of cool, dude. Indeed. How is the mountains? Happy fractals. Yeah. That's awesome, Joe. Super cool. So, what did Corey say? Purple and orange? I mean, there's not a lot of orange or purple. But, I mean, there is orange. But I don't think there's any purple. Like maybe specks of purple. These are the cards we pulled. These are them upside down. And these are them right side up. We pulled Emissaries of Love. One of my all-time favorite cards of the whole deck. And then we pulled the ISO. Icosahedron? Why can't I read right now? Kitty is putting her butthole against me right now. I love you too. Card number 37. Yeah, card number 30. You're right, actually. Full Blue Monday. Very much. The two shades of blue, right? 37 and 30 and 57. Two sevens. You're right, actually. Good spot. We love doing bird vacation. I'm home now, but my soul will forever be in the Smoky Mountains. I hope you had a good time. Nia! Hi, Naomi! I miss you, friend. I tuned in on an interesting time. Card time! Yeah! Naomi! Sending you love, friend. It's so nice having you here. Dad is here too. I think it's just me. No, I've been seeing you. I've just been tripping out. Purple and orange are my wife and my wedding's color, of course. The vastness of the sea, the infinity. Let's see. So the first one is 37. Upside down meaning goes, your abilities are misunderstood. Remember to be sensitive to the emotional comfort and security of all beings, especially the children born in this time of planetary transformation. Sensitive new children with uncommon abilities are entering the world. They are being called various things: psychic children, crystal children, millennium children, to name just a few terms in use. There are distinctions among them, yet it is apparent that they are all sensitive, intuitive, deeply aware, spiritually awakened, and multisensory human beings who carry with them a universal message of love. Yeah. Their unique capabilities, the connection they've voiced with dolphins and whales, and their ability to use planetary energy to communicate with each other, infuse this card. You are invited to look to the future. I'm getting licked by the cat right now. You are invited to look to the future with optimism and hope. It is heartening to know that children are being born who embody, I think you can still see, children are being born who embody the vibrations of peace, integrity, and genuine love. How may you better support the message that you offer, right? How may you better support the message that you offer, the story that you're telling? How may you follow your own example? It's saying their example, but I believe this card is talking about you, right? How may you follow the example and become yourself an emissary of love by shifting your oh goodness, there it is. Today's stream topic. By shifting your attention from fear to love in the moment, you too will become part of the evolution of consciousness that these children personify. You have the ability to contribute to a future of love for yourself and all beings. See and feel it is already here. Whew. Icosahedron. I think that's the way you're supposed to say it. Icosahedron? I, right? Stop looking at my face. I can't even see my own face looking at I, Icosa. Icosa. Isosa? Icosa. Icosahedron. Isosahedron. Why is this melting my brain so much? I've said this word before, and yet today it seems to be escaping me. It's probably because I'm tired and mildly delirious. Yes. Perspective and new beginnings. The reverse meaning goes, try as you may, you can see no solution. Distance yourself from the situation long enough to regain your perspective. Holy shit. Oh, that's too much. Yeah, I guess you're right, aren't you? Because I don't know what the solution is to a problem I'm facing right now. Because I'm seeing a friend tell themselves this convincing story of their separation. And I've been thinking about what I'm supposed to say, and I guess I don't, really know. Try as I may, I see no solution. Distance yourself to gain perspective. Whew. The icosahedron, with its 20 triangular faces, is one of the five three-dimensional shapes called the Platonic solids. The icosahedron is associated with the female sign of our natures and the element of water. It represents the beginnings of new consciousness. Choosing this card suggests that the subject of your inquiry has been in your mind for some time. You ruminate and question, but you are caught in thought patterns that offer no solution. It is time to seek a new perspective, a new story. Ask for inner guidance from the receptive female aspect and activate an awareness of what you need to know to free stuck energy and get things moving again. You may be surprised at how easily you untangle the situation once you see it from a fresh vantage point. Use this perspective to help see the new beginnings that are set to arrive and move with ease and grace into the manifestation of your dreams and visions. Yeah, those are exactly the cards that we needed to pull. I'm happy we pulled two. Woo! The sigh I heard you say it's staring at me. Tuners, I love the Appalachians. Yes, I'm stupid. My stream briefly froze up in the middle of you saying my name. Not before, not after, only during my name. Yeah, the power of Naomi. Technology just breaks. Don't think I would make it if I didn't get out of the stress for a while. Nature is necessary, very much so. Glitch interactions. We need the earth, there is no doubt. Damn, that card reinforced some thoughts from last night's trip. The synchronicities, right? Your friends are in tune, and these things are just reminding you, right? They're not divinatory, like you're supposed to